All right. So you may have noticed that I recently took down a couple of videos. I want to talk about that and explain it and just offer some insight. So the videos that I took down, a lot of people were agreeing with and some not so much. I'll break it down. What I was talking about is my issue and frankly much of the world's issue with the allowance, the ability for gender ambiguous people to compete in women's sports. By that I mean transgender or just any kind of gender fluidity. I have an issue with that. You?
It's not fair to the women who have spent their whole lives training, and then they have to go up against a biological man.
Well, in this case, that's the issue. In this case, it's more complicated than that. I was specifically referring to Imane Khalif, right? And Imane Khalif has a syndrome. I can't remember the name of the syndrome, but originally they were saying that she was born a biological male. She was born, as far as I know, with XY chromosomes, which would typically indicate a male. However, I'm learning now that the Y chromosome didn't develop properly, which didn't give the full-on male development. And you might say, what do you care? That's none of your business. Very much everybody's business, because it's the World Olympics. And all of this, I had been asked by a couple of detractors to apologize. See, with this, I would definitely apologize, as you well know, when I really misstep and really make a mistake. Yeah. My opinion remains the same. If you are not a 100% woman, you should not, and this is not just opinion, this is just the difference between right and wrong. Yeah. You should not be in that arena beating girls, right? You should not be doing it. And the reason is simple and it's obvious. In the case of someone extraordinary, like it's 1 in 80,000 for people, something like that, for people to have this syndrome that this Imane Khalif has, it's likely that they're going to produce way more testosterone.
Well, she does, and that's why she was disqualified in
the championships. Yeah. So apologize for what? I think that it is unfair for people who are advantaged like that, just like it's unfair for people to go in and take hormones, testosterone,
steroids,
and other people not to be able to take them. It's just not. You have to keep the playing field level, and as such, it is not fair.
And they always have done that, but now all of a sudden, they're disagreeing with the World Boxing Organization.
Yeah. Or International Boxing Organization.
Yeah.
Right.
That's what it is.
So
IBO.
What I contend here is that, and this is not about hate.
Not at all.
This is about we're just saying hi to neighbors. This is about fairness. It's about and this I contend is a black and white issue. And I will repeat myself. What I said in these other videos were things like this. It's funny that, it's not funny, I'm being ironic. It's funny that you don't see transgender men wanting to compete in men's sports. You typically don't see that.
Right.
And the reason why is it would be stupid. You would be disadvantaged if you transitioned into being a man from a woman.
And you're going to compete against men with men's bodies and men's chemicals in their system.
Who went through puberty and developed men's bodies and had testosterone producing powerhouses. It's just, boy, we're seeing everybody we know today, right?
That was our daughter.
It's not something you would do, and that's very telling, is it? That people who transitioned from woman to man don't want to do that. You're not going to see them doing it. It just defies common sense. So why is it okay for people who are, and this is not about hate, people. This is again, this is about fairness. It's so simple. And if we would keep it simple and go back to where we were from the beginning, from the dawn of sports, where we said there's men's sports and there's women's sports, we wouldn't be having any of this problem. But again, the radical left, I'll say it again, pushes this woke ideology, and everybody gets confused. Everybody gets their panties in a wad, and everybody's at each other's throats. Because there are some of us that don't want to protect the sanctity of women's sports. We don't want to protect women and their vulnerability in the locker room from biological men, some of us, and it's just wrong. Yeah. So,
Sue beat us here.
Really?
Yeah, she was just behind us over there.
No, that's not her. Yeah. So this is what I was saying, all this and more. But I did feel compelled to take those videos down. It's just aggravating that there are those people that will come on with hateful comments, and I don't want that.
Yeah, saying that you're trying to stir the hate.
And there are people saying that I'm trying to stir the hate, and I never am trying to stir the hate.
You're trying to do the opposite.
I think that it is.
You're not going to convince those people.
I know damn well that it is not Imani Khalif's fault that she produces too much testosterone.
Yeah.
She was born that way. I get that, and that's fine. Still, Imani Khalif, in my opinion, should not be in women's sports. There should be a division for those people. Life is tough, you know. Mm-hmm. But why should life is already tough? Why should her tragedy, and I'll call it a tragedy, why should that translate or trickle down to these women, these young athletes who've worked since they were kids?
Well, she's worked since she was a kid too.
Right. And I'm saying that's a tragedy.
Yeah, it's very
she, in my opinion, should not be allowed to compete in women's sports, and that's a tragedy. I recognize that is very sad, and it seems unfair, but life is unfair. Mm-hmm. But it shouldn't result in tragedy for other boxers who have their dreams crushed because this person is producing a tremendous amount of testosterone, and she's able to go in there, and like Karini said, she punched me in the face harder than I've ever been hit in my life. And like the other boxer, what was the other boxer's name?
I don't remember.
The Hungarian boxer. She's been practicing. She's been working at this career since she was 10 years old. Mm-hmm. So,
yeah.
Anyway, I just wanted to clear that up and let you know. Apologize for what? What would I apologize for?
Yeah, I don't think you need to apologize.
Because it's convoluted, it's complicated, and it's all complicated.
It's a discussion.
It's a discussion.
It's not saying anything either definitively either way.
Yeah. And I just feel like the far left has complicated this by pushing this agenda. It's not fair to these boxers to be the Imani Khalifs of the world, to be disqualified and then qualified and then half the world hating them. Yeah, it does cause a lot of hatred, and I'm not a part of that. But it's so unfair to them to put them on that roller coaster. Mm-hmm. They should just say, look,
you're not going to be able to compete.
You're not going to be able to do this. We're very sorry. It's the same as if you were taking supplements to give you an advantage. So we can't allow that. Mm-hmm. We can, however, suggest that you push for a new division.
Yes.
Right?
That's what they need.
This is like saying we should allow whatever you call those of us who don't have Down syndrome or other special needs to be in the Special Olympics.
Yeah.
It's not fair.
Yeah.
That's theirs. Let me summarize by saying this. I never had the privilege of being in any sports, and I'm not very well versed in sports. And that's the beauty of this. I should not have to be. There should be simplicity in it. Why do we have divisions? Why do we have ranks? Why do we have women's sports? In this case, women's boxing. Why? If you're not going to keep it refined to that category, why have it? And that is not to disparage or insult those who have this ambiguity or who are transgender or who have conditions that cause them to be chromosomally ambiguous, if you will. It's just the person needs to fit into the category wholly, not partially. And these are the hard decisions we have to make. Yes, life is hard, and these kinds of decisions are difficult, but they need to be made properly and fairly and safely so that we don't find people who are overproducing male hormones fighting and competing against women in women's strength and endurance sports. It's just simply a matter of fairness. So now, when we're all talking about this and we're dicing it up and we're discussing it and we're arguing about it, Imani Khalif is trouncing the competition, who are women. Now, get it through your head. It's not about hatred. It's about classification. It's about fairness. And time will show us that there will be a division for these people, but then we can't go back and erase the damage done. You see what I mean? There will be a division for these people. So what about now? What about this that will be the past? What about those dreams that were destroyed because people didn't make the right decisions and people didn't fully understand? And they kept pointing a finger and saying, you're intolerant, you're hateful. No, we just want clarity. We want fairness. Binary division is not evil. It's practical. It's common sense. People just want women's sports again. Let women have their sports or give them the choice. Let them decide if they want to wrestle or box or fight against people who are not 100% their sex. It's not women and those close enough or almost complete women sports. It's women's sports. This is just basic common sense and fairness.